This is not a rant about Accenture, their staff in HR. No, this is not a rant about Ireland. And also, now that I've already announced that I'm going back to India, and I told you that you guys are going to come across a video that is going to in detail explain the reasons that I'm going back, this video or this job rejection story is not the reason why I'm going back. I just thought I should mention there is going to be a lot more that I'm going to talk about, multiple reasons that led me to take this decision. So please don't jump to conclusions and wait for that video. Thought that the first job I'll apply to, I'll get it. No, that's not how it's going to happen. The interviewer just said that you're overqualified for this role, that's why we're not going to take you. It was an automatic error. So quick tip here, if you are applying for an organization, if you are on LinkedIn and you have a connection who works at the same place, then just please go ahead and get yourself a referral. It is going to help you big time. It might or might not help you get the job, but it would definitely help you get the interview at the least.
Running out of breath, how can anybody breathe?
Hello people and welcome back to my channel Alive to Tell a Tale. My name is Sharmishta and today I am back with another story for you that happened with me in the recent times. If you are somebody who's looking for answers to questions like how do job interviews happen here, what could possibly be the reason for someone to get rejected for a job, even if you think you're perfectly qualified, even if you think you've given the interview properly, what could possibly be the reason that you might have got rejected? If you are looking for answers like these, then this is the video for you. I would suggest you to stay tuned and watch till the end because I am going to tell you a story about my recent job rejection. I am also going to list out all the possible reasons that I think I probably got rejected for, because like you know, the organizations, when they reject a candidate, they're not allowed to disclose the reason why they're rejected for. So I'm going to give out all the possible reasons that I probably got rejected for, and also a tip on where I went wrong and what I think that you should not be doing when you guys are applying for a job here in Ireland. So let's go. So like most of you guys know that yes, I am unemployed. I do not have a job yet, and yes, I have been in search for a job in Ireland for quite some time now. So I'll begin with what the initial plan was. I actually waited till I graduated. I really wanted to have my certificate in hand when I start applying for jobs. So I graduated in December 2019. I did not want to get stuck with a job until I managed to go home, celebrate with my family that I have a master's degree in hand now. So in January, I went home, got back by the end of Jan. I took one whole month of February to figure out what goes into my CV, how can I present myself well, how I went into researching on how to better my cover letter, because I had a different mindset about what I want to do before doing my masters when I was applying for the universities, but now when you're applying for jobs it's completely different. So I wanted to revamp my CV and my cover letter, for which I took one whole month. I did a lot of research on how do how do interview processes work in Europe, how is it different from what it has been in India, and things like that. So I spent one whole month of February to research on things, and then I wanted to step into applying to jobs in the month of March. But then COVID happened. The big announcement of lockdown happened in the month of March. Everything had come to a standstill from March. Apart from hearing news about the pandemic and how people were getting infected and dying because of this, I was also hearing a lot of stories of unemployment and job crisis. Not just hearing about them, but eventually when things started getting serious here in Ireland, I would see how my friends and people I know were getting laid off and unemployed because of the pandemic. I had no choice but to wait till the situation calms down, because for a fact everybody got to know that applying for jobs was not the best idea. I would see a lot of people on LinkedIn write articles and posts that companies should take down vacant positions in their organization on LinkedIn that they are not going to hire for. Reading stories like mass layoffs happening in big organizations like Uber and Airbnb was only scaring me. Eventually, I thought that after a few months things are going to get better, but it took good time. 4 to 6 months was a serious lockdown period. The whole summer went by, and all I could do was think of something that could make me feel productive, something that could make me feel like my creativity is not dying, which is exactly why and when I started doing YouTube. It was giving me a sense of satisfaction of helping people in a way through information, through my experiences, but it still did not make me feel very content, because of course I have to pay my own bills and YouTube is not going to help me do that anytime soon. So I never stopped applying for jobs. I would always constantly sit and apply for jobs. It started off with applying for jobs in masses, like I would apply for 5 to 6 jobs a day. Eventually started getting inputs from different places that every job description has to match your CV and your cover letter, and they need to see keywords. There's going to be a software, it's not a human on the other end who's going to filter you out, so you have to be careful of things like that. So I started, my sensibilities kept growing over the time, but I wouldn't see any result. Eventually I started making myself understand. I would not sleep over it. I would make myself understand that it's not me, it's the situation that is causing so many rejections. It doesn't have to mean that there is some problem with me. It's the situation. People cannot hire, that's why they aren't hiring. Long story short, at one point I was ready to take any job that comes my way. I was ready to apply for jobs beyond my niche. I hold a master's in marketing, but I was ready to go beyond it, just to get into any organization to begin with and then eventually grow within the organization instead of just hoping to start from a certain level. I was ready to just grab any position, any opportunity I get. I applied for all the possible roles. I applied for admin roles, I applied for support roles, I applied for business development roles, marketing roles, of course, social media management, you name it, and I did it. And this doesn't mean that I would just have one CV and cover letter in hand and just simply blindly apply for all these positions. I would sit down, read all the job descriptions, manage to tailor my resume and cover letter as per the job description, just so that I get shortlisted and get that one opportunity of at least getting to speak to an interviewer to make them believe that I'm capable of doing this job. This went on and on for quite some time. I would sit and reflect on my own thoughts on how to better present myself, because it's just a paper that the other person is going to see, and it has to be that one chance that you have to strike a chord at, and I did everything I could. So there were two ways to go about it. If I would read a job description that I had relevant experience with in my earlier career, then I would sit and articulate the roles and responsibilities of that job even better, just so that it matches the criteria. And then if I would come across a job role for which I would not have the relevant experience, then I would try and list out and put across all the skills that I learned in my previous work experience that could be of use for this job. So I tried it every way, in every aspect. I tried to better my application process, but it just didn't seem to work. After 9 months of my graduation, after applying for infinite number of jobs, I finally got my first positive response for an application. So I had applied for a job role of a social media customer representative, UK and Ireland. So I would be working with Accenture for Facebook. I would consider myself a perfect fit for this role as per the criteria that were listed in the job description, be it my previous work experience, my educational qualifications, or my soft skills. And I just went ahead and applied. I also found someone who was working at the same organization who could lend a referral, because I know for a fact that any organization would take you, would consider you even more if you are being referred by an existing employee than if you're going on your own and applying to them for. So quick tip here, if you are applying for an organization, if you are on LinkedIn and you have a connection who works at the same place, then just please go ahead and get yourself a referral. It is going to help you big time. it might or might not help you get the job, but it would definitely help you get the interview at the least. So after applying for this job, after about 2 weeks, one fine day early in the morning at about 9:30, 10, I got a call, and it was the first HR round. You can call it the screening. I think the HR spoke to me, asked me a few basic questions about, tell me something about yourself, why did you choose Accenture, why should we choose you, and things like that. And eventually she asked me about my visa status, and I told her that I am on stamp 1G. This is my second year in Ireland. My visa will expire in December 2020, and I'm eligible to extend it till December 2021 without having someone to sponsor me. So the moment I told her this, the first thing she said is that it's the company policy, that's the Accenture company policy, that they are not allowed to hire someone for a role unless they have 6 months of visa in hand before the renewal. So this happened in October, so I had just November, December, and because of the pandemic, the government policy says that my visa is automatically extended till Jan. That's because of the volume of applications they receive for renewals. So I still do not meet the criteria. I just have 3 months instead of 6 months in hand before renewal. So, but she still somehow said that, okay, I will cross-check that again, but I'm going to schedule you for another interview for the next round. I was very happy. I thought that she is going to, cross-check that and come back to me with the good news. In a day or two, another interview was scheduled, and that interview was with the team manager and another hiring manager. I was very well dressed, completely prepared for the interview. In my head, I had collected all the kind of situations that might be possibly asked, to demonstrate certain skills of mine, like patience, tell me a situation where you dealt with patience, what do you think is important when you're talking to a customer, and things like that. And I think I gave in really good examples. I did not stick to one kind of an example. I used my part-time experience to explain such situations. I used my corporate experience, my university experience. I just tried to give a lot of variety to make them believe that I'm here to, I'm really here to get the job. I'm not doing this just for the sake of interviewing it. So by the end of the interview, there came a point where they were so happy, and you kind of know when someone is liking you or not, right? So I really thought that they were very impressed. They just by the end of the interview, they asked me if I am okay with a certain shift, with a certain week off, and if I'm okay with a particular work location. And this really made me feel like just in a day or two, I'm just going to get the offer letter and my life is going to change. So that's how the interview ended. They told me that they'll be getting back to me in about 3 to 4 days. So those 3 to 4 days, trust me, I was waiting like I'm going to get a jackpot or something. My phone was never on silent. My phone is usually always on silent, but when they told me they're going to get back to me in a few days, my phone was not on silent. I would constantly keep checking, just with the fear of not, having to witness a missed call or anything. You know how it is. Everybody goes through this. But 1 week passed away and I did not get any call. By then, my confidence started to fall down. I thought I lost it, but I wouldn't understand why would someone reject me for this role. I think I'm just rightly qualified for this. And by the end of second week, I just received an automated email. That's it. I was expecting a call, but I got an email and it was an automated rejection email. It had no reason, nothing. This email was an automated email that said, no, don't reply. So it broke my heart. I sat over it for quite a few days. I just wouldn't understand why would somebody reject me for a role that I've already done before. That I'm qualified for and things like that. But then it struck me that there could be possibly quite a few reasons, and I'm going to list those out for you now. Every company has its own policy with visas. Like this company had its policy of hiring somebody who has 6 months of visa in hand before renewal. Few people prefer hiring somebody with a stamp 4. Few people prefer hiring a local over someone who's come from another country, especially because of the pandemic. So basically, any organization, specifically in times like these, would prefer hiring a European that's from an EU than a non-European, because then they'll have to invest in you and sponsor a visa for you. Another reason I would think is you will hear this word a lot in Ireland. I don't know how much it is justified. Do people use it as an excuse, or is it really that for real? But you would hear this a lot where people would say that you're overqualified for a role. So there are certain roles that would need you to have a minimum of your bachelor's degree, and a few roles would want you to have a master's degree. I have been rejected for a role long back when I was in my university. When I had applied, the interviewer just said that you're overqualified for this role, that's why we're not going to take you. Another reason could be that yes, I have relevant work experience for this role, but that could be considered as an experience that is older, as in I finished working, I resigned that company, did my master's for a year, and then it's been another 9 months after I graduated, because of which maybe they did not consider that role. So multiple reasons like this that I can think of. But to contradict that, I think I know for a fact that work experience is very, very crucial, especially in a skill-based job market like Ireland. So if I have to say something that I learned out of this, if I have to tell you that there's something that you shouldn't be doing that I did, then I would definitely want to say that when I was studying, I decided that I am not going to apply unless I have my certificate in hand. For some reason, I thought that if I get into a job, if I start applying early, then I'll get into a job and then I'll get stuck in Ireland. I thought that if I get into a job, I don't want to be that person who'd immediately 3 months into the organization go and ask for a leave to go home. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to finish going home first because my parents couldn't make it to the graduation here. So I just wanted to get my certificate, go home, celebrate with them, come back, and then take my time, revamp my CV and my cover letter properly. And then I thought that the first job I'll apply to, I'll get it. No, that's not how it's going to happen. Just don't delay things. Be the person who can go and ask for a leave after getting into the organization. Getting into the organization should be your first priority. Not going home, not going, for a celebration with family. I know this sounds a little ruthless, but this is how it is. If you're not from this country, then trying to make your own place in an organization has to be your highest priority. एक बार कंपनी में घुस जाओ, उसके बाद फिर तुम छुट्टी लो, घर जाओ, जो करना है करो, but getting into an organization is most important. So my only tip to you guys is, halfway into your university course, halfway into your course, start applying for jobs, start getting rejected in your early times. That's what will make you realize that what is lacking in your profile, what is going wrong with your application process, what you need to add to your CV. By adding, I mean what skills you need to add that fits you into the European job market. Gather those skills. That's when by the end of your course, even before you get your graduation certificate in hand, I think you're going to get a job. It's never going to happen that the first job you apply to, you're going to get it. No, that's not going to happen. I've heard so many stories. People have come up with stories like they've applied 72 times and the 73rd time they got a job. I got rejected 10,000 times and I still don't have a job. There are going to be people who are going to get a job while studying or just after they graduated. So they're going to be super, super disappointing stories that you'll come across. You're going to be disappointed with your own story and you might get inspired listening to others also. So it's not just Ireland. This is not just the case in Ireland. It can happen in any country. It completely has to do with the situation, the opportunities you grab, you just have to be there at the right time in the right place. Don't delay things. Don't think like me कि घर जाके आके apply करेंगे. बहुत late कर दिया मैंने. But yeah, that's my tip. And also, now that I've already announced that I'm going back to India, and I told you that you guys are going to come across a video that is going to in detail explain the reasons that I'm going back, this video or this job rejection story is not the reason why I'm going back. I just thought I should mention there is going to be a lot more that I'm going to talk about. multiple reasons that led me to take this decision. So please don't jump to conclusions and wait for that video. This is not a rant about Accenture, their staff and HR. No, this is not a rant about Ireland. This is just me sharing one of my disheartening experiences in Ireland. I promise, I've really heard a lot of success stories. People came out with flying colors, with a graduation in hand and with a job in hand. Indians who have come out with such opportunities, and I'm really very happy for them. And I would like you to take it that way. Don't go by I have a different destiny, I have a different fate. Things might have not worked for me, but might work for you. So don't take this negatively. That is all for today, guys. If you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to get a notification every time I post a new video. Until next time, see you. Bye-bye.